Hi, Tom Dulaney here from the AMX Firehorse YouTube channel and the website amx390.com. We're at Mendiola Transaxles, and we're going to bring this strawberry cheesecake to Mike Mendiola and Ian while they put together the SDR 5-speed for our AMX3 replica. Let's go take a look. Ooh. Hello?
Back here, dude.
Hey, Mike.
I'm still.
You're still kicking.
I'm still kicking. Unfortunately. God, you brought me cheesecake.
Yeah, that's better than
How much does this seem like?
Better than the pies I used to bring. I figure we got to upgrade.
I don't know. I thought those pies were pretty damn good. Hey, thanks a lot, man.
You're welcome. It's good to see you.
That's cool. This is an SR5 5-speed. We've got this rated probably about 1,000 horsepower. But yeah, your bell housing will be what's going on there. So what you have to have, now I checked with Brett at Kennedy. He doesn't have an adapter for your motor. And he's got adapters for everything, okay? But what I've got though, is I have all the original drawings that I originally did for you. I'm gonna CAD that whole thing up for you.
Okay.
All the proper distances, so clutch fits and all that. Now remember, Kennedy has to do the clutch for this, because that's what the bell housing is built for. Okay, we're gonna offset the ring gear in there, but it'll be a standard part for your car only, okay? The starter will fit, that's not an issue. I'd still run the dual disc 9-inch, you know, that'll handle 800 pounds-foot of torque, which is a lot more than your motor's make. How much torque is your motor gonna make? Didn't you say 500 pounds?
Well, Richard Connolly built it, and he told me it was probably close to 600 horsepower.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing
it's gotta be at least 5.
At least 5.
Maybe 5 1/4, 550. Anyhow, we'll make sure that all that is right. So what I'll have for you, and we'll throw it on a disc if the guy has step files or anything, but he'll be able to build the whole part off that, and it's not going to be an expensive piece. I just figured I'd help you. I said, I don't have time to do this. Well, yeah, I do. So we're going to get that done so your guy doesn't have any wish lists as what am I supposed to do here.
All right, that sounds good, Mike. Let's do that.
Okay. So we'll get that up. Jack West's son does these now. But you can see the quality in the work, and he does an extremely good job. As a matter of fact, he's doing all of our castings now. He'll start on bell housings when this new batch shows up Friday. So anyway, he does all this. You can see all the gasketed surfaces all have O-rings. We use no gaskets. All interpolated surfaces match each other. So to me, a transmission functionality has to be there, but there's nothing wrong with a cosmetic effect of being there. Nobody wants to buy an ugly part. You know, if you go to a mid-engine car, what's the first thing you see when you pop the deck lid? It's not the motor, it's the gearbox. It's not like a front engine car. Camaro, Mustang, pop the hood, there's the motor. Chrome valve covers, chrome everything else, really fancy plug wires, all that. So we're going to give it that look on all mid-motor cars. And we've actually sold I don't know how many units because it looks good. I'm very serious. Functionality in some of the others, it's pretty much the same. Here's the forks, here's the gears. But this unit here, we've rated this at 600 horsepower. And I do that because I've been in the street business for so long, I know what guys are going to do to it. I can tell them 800 horsepower, well, they'll go by 1,000. I'll guarantee you, every stinking time. So anyway, we do have a GT40. Dennis Althoff built the car. He's the world's authority on Ford and GT40. They put 904 horsepower to one of these. He says, Mike, we're just going to drive the car and see what happens. Hey, have at it, you know. Send me a picture of all the parts when they're in the parking lot and not in the car. He says, Mike, we beat the crap out of this thing and we can't hurt it. I said, okay, well, you know, that's you, not me. But so far, we haven't lost. We've sold almost 160 of these, and we haven't lost one yet. Now, I'm waiting on some Monday morning to come here and have one sitting on my doorstep, you know. But so far, that really hasn't happened. Cost-effective wise, I'll put the SDR5 against anybody's unit. I don't care what it is for that same. I don't care if it's a G50. Doug's got some pretty nice stuff. Albans, I got a lot of respect for both of those guys, but for the price, you cannot beat this gearbox on the planet Earth. Not this North America. I'll put it up against anybody's stuff. So for those guys that are still waiting for theirs, hey guys, I'm sorry. We are getting the backlog finally picked up. If you want to throw a rock at me, I'll give you my home address. You know, at least use a small one so it doesn't kill me. Yeah, I think our product is top of the food chain. Nobody can really match it. And I don't run any advertising yet because I really can't hold the workflow. Just by word of name, you know, the phone's been ringing off the wall. Well, I can't afford 10 times that yet because I don't have the inventory. I made that mistake 12 years ago. I won't do it again. Yeah.
Can you take us through the basics of the SDR 5-speed, the ring and pinion and all that?
Yeah, sure. Here's the diff. This is a cone clutch, limited slip. This probably for the price, I won't tell you how cheap it is, but for the price, you can't beat this thing. I've got guys putting way over 1,000 horsepower. It's an off-the-shelf unit. It's extremely strong. Billet 930 drive subs. We don't have 935s available for the SDR5, the big 935s. It really doesn't do us a whole lot of good. What's going to happen, you've got a CV that's stronger than the gearbox. That's how strong those are. We don't need those. You know, off-road stuff, I'll show you a blip of the 6-speed that we've done for a Mosler. These are our gear sets. One thing we're really, really proud of, we make all these parts in-house, all the gears, the shift forks, the slider sleeves, pinion bearing housing, inner races, all this stuff. There's not one shop in North America, I don't feel, that does that. RBT does some of their own stuff. That's a good box, but again, it won't handle what this thing will. One thing else in our units, the guys that are going to start building kits, is all of our ring and pinions come preset. If you buy a case, and let's say, God forbid, the ring and pinion packs it up, you just tell us what the number in the case is. We have a file on that. All we do is cut the pinion bearing housing and you adjust backlash. You have no pinion gauge. You can run a pattern on one of these. I'll guarantee every pattern's perfect for this purpose. It's a little heavy on the nose, but they work out extremely well. Oh, we also have a full-size bell housing for these as well. We got them for Ford, Chevy. If you want to save some money, you don't want a dual disc Kennedy clutch, you're looking for something a little bit cheaper, we run an ACT stage 1 11-inch pressure plate. We use their disc. We use a GM flywheel. You can use a stock starter. You're not having to buy a whole lot of expensive stuff. But we've got guys putting 750 to 800 through those as well. And those are dirt cheap. I think the whole combination is like 450 bucks for everything, including the flywheel. So that's kind of hard to beat. For the full pop guys though, I mean, if you want to get as much on a track day as you can, run the Kennedy dual disc 9-inch. It'll handle probably anything that a guy has on the street. You know, 800 pounds-feet of torque, billet flywheel, it's air pressure plate, disc, and floater. I've been running old man Kennedy's stuff way over, it's got to be 40 years now. He and I got into business about the same time. You cannot beat Kennedy. I've run thousands of Kennedy clutches, thousands of them, and we've hot rodded the crap out of them, and we've had no issue ever. As a kid, I was always interested in cars. I mean, I'm talking since I was 6, 7 years old. I always wanted to do something with my hands. My mother pulled into a gas station to fill up one day. These guys are getting a modified ready to go to Ascot. And revving the motor, you know, they got a water fight going on, both having Cokes, and they were having a hell of a, hey, well, I can do that. You know, it looks like a good job to me. It was everything about that. Before that, though, I was 6 years old. My dad took me to opening night at Fontana, Drag City. Mickey Thompson got that running. That was September 1955. I was 6 years old. We went that night. And even to this day, in January, I'll be 72. But that's one of the coolest things that I've ever done in my life. Even at 6 years old, I remember everything about that night. Everything about it. And at that point in time, I was kind of sold then. You know, hey, I need to be a mechanic. That's simply how it played out. Got through high school, you know, growing up, life was a little rough, bad part of 10, you know, but that makes you harder and better. So my brother and I both joined up. Billy went in 68, I joined up in 69. My dad and 3 of his brothers served in World War II. So it was my turn to go. You know, I didn't need to get drafted. My brother joined as well. I was a combat engineer up in the DMZ up north. 1st of the 5th Mech, we rode PCs. We did combat construction, demolition, mine sweep, mine installs, all that kind of stuff. My brother didn't make it so well. He got hit by a CHICOM, Chinese Communist anti-tank mine. He was in country probably for about 7 months. Got transferred to the USS Mercy. First thing he said when he got it, hey, I'm going back to my unit. I'm not going back home. So went back to his unit, did an awesome job. I was really, really lucky. And what I did there, I never got a scratch. You know, that piece of shrapnel, that 7.62 that was meant for me, just didn't get there in time. Vietnam was a real eye-opener. You know, I was a kid from Southern California, building hot rods, going to the beach, having a good time. And I got a real wake-up call. You know, when I went to Nam, we landed in Cam Bay. You can hear the gunfire way in the background, all the PCs running around, had to get to your unit, jumped on a Charlie 130, headed up north. And I did my year, you know, I got out of there in one piece. And the first thing I tell guys, Tom, I wasn't tougher, mean, or quicker, or any of that. I was lucky. That's all I was. You know, whatever was meant to take me out simply did not get there in time. And I beat it out of that. So I was always a drag racer. My favorite drag strip was Lyons. Orange County was around back in the late 60s, early 70s. Wanted to go back to drag racing, got out of the Army, came back. Well, Lyons Dragstrip had already shut down. That was my favorite strip of all time, was always Lyons. Orange County was, its days were numbered as well. So my cousin buys this dune buggy out of the white pages with the rotary phone. Hey, how much is this car? So he gets this car for 125 bucks, whole car with the trailer, went to the guy's house, picked it up, and he warned us when we picked the car up, this car does not make oil pressure. He said the motor runs great, but it doesn't make any oil pressure. We said, hey, you know, for $1.25, we'll try it out. So a buddy of ours, a guy named Mike Fay, brings his truck over, we load it up, we head down old Highway 80 into the desert, ended up at Blow Sand. It took us 5 hours to get there. And that's probably the coolest car experience that I've ever had. The most fun driving a car will always be an off-road race car. I'm not much of a driver, but it's an absolute hoot to do. You know, I've drag raced, I've been part of hydroplanes and offshore boats as a mechanic, but there's nothing as much fun as an off-road race car. So did that, decided, you know, I was a welder full-time. We were doing high-pressure pipe work for San Onofre. We were an independent pipe shop. And I kind of decided, you know, maybe this off-road thing has something there, you know, that I could get into. I played with T10s and the V8 stuff back as a kid. I figured, well, you know, how tough can this Volkswagen stuff be? So I joined up, I saved a few bucks from Nam, bought a hydraulic press and some other stuff, and hung my shingle out the door. The first 6 transmissions that I did, they all came back. Not one of them worked. I screwed more crap up in half an hour than any 10 guys. So anyhow, learned how to do that, fixed them up right, and VW to Porsche to Hewlands, you know, In probably the mid-'80s, the writing was on the wall that the Volkswagen bus wasn't going to be around for much longer. Engines started increasing in torque and horsepower. We moved into the Hewland DG300. I made a lot of parts for those. But even at that, with the bigger horsepower, late 80s, early 90s, mid-90s, those became inadequate as well. That's when I designed the MD4. That was about 94 to about 95. Got into production about 96, and that's where the whole mess got going currently. We still do some off-road components. The big market for us now is big horsepower street cars, mid-engine stuff, Lola T70s, GT40s. We currently have a unit that we have running in cars that'll handle 1,500 horsepower. It'll flash to 2,000. We've sold 3 of those, probably not a prime market. We do have 2 new ones coming out the first half of 2021. It's your basic 650, 800 horsepower market box, but that's where it sits. That's where our market base is now. So we're currently doing those. I'll keep hanging in there for probably as long as I can, you know, but I feel our product's probably as good as anybody. I'll go head to head with anybody. I've probably got more wins than just about anybody in off-road cars. So current day, here we are in the new spot. I used to have 25 employees and 40,000 foot buildings and all that. I got a little bit tired of that. I really wasn't a technician anymore. I was kind of a babysitter. I don't like being a babysitter. So it's time to kick back, you know, get back to what we're really good at, engineering new parts and products. And here we are. You know, we'll keep on chugging until Jesus calls me on his cell phone, "Hey, Michael, we're bowling tonight."